All right. I think we're recording now, ladies. So first of all, I want to introduce to the team. I want to introduce Kat. She is from San Diego. She's an executive. Actually, I think you're still the only executive in California. And she's been with the company, what, 7 years, 8 years? Where are you at? Anyway, I wanted
8 years in June.
I wanted Kat to share her story, and then of course, you know, where she is in the business as far as how long she's been here, like she just said, 8 years, coached thousands and thousands. And she is, what level are you now to me? 6, 5, 6?
Yes. One went down. So I think it's
yes.
or maybe it was 6 and it's 5 now, something like that.
Something like
continue.
That. So Kat has really reached down and grabbed me and grabbed this team and brought us up. We struggled because 5 levels left, you guys. So with that being said, I was floundering, and literally Kat reached down and said, I'm here to help. And she helped me hit director, silver director, gold director. And she's amazing.
Oh, that was so you, girl. You are just a powerhouse. Like, honestly, it was just like, wait, let me hold the train on your veil while you go. Like, that's all I'm doing. I'm just holding the veil up in the back. That's all I do.
Yes.
Your train.
Anyway, we have a great team. And so I want to go ahead and turn this over to Kat.
Okay. Oh man, this is like so nice. It's been a while since I've done this. But I was thinking this is probably an awesome time, and I think it'll be good if I'm like really honest, of course, still positive, but just to kind of like, oh yeah, because it's true. It's like, wait, who am I to you? And why would you have me on this call? And like, that makes a lot of sense. So just a little, okay, we'll give my quick story just so you know how I came in, and then I'll explain the whole connection. Yes, to Miss Leslie. So this was June 2012. The company was 2 years old. So I'm super stoked to celebrate our 10-year, you know, when we go to Vegas, because I went to one of the first events the company had. They were 2 years old, and I started in June, and by July, I drove out to Vegas with my nursing baby. Like, what was I thinking? that was a bit of a like, I don't know, I wasn't thinking, but that was probably the best thing. And I was like, oh, it's fine. You know, my ex will be there with her and whatever. And oh gosh, it was a crazy drive out. But anyway, I knew from the moment I walked into that first Xyngular meeting, like, wow, I found my tribe. These people are all different. I wouldn't say I'm exactly the same as everyone, but the spirit of everyone was like automatic, like just, okay, like I vibe with all of this. I totally connect with this. I immediately connected with certain people that we just built bonds, and we still have bonds to this day, 8 years later. So I lost, let's see. So I started with an Ignite. We did not have an Ultimate kit. We didn't have anything close to that. We had an Ignite kit with 7 products in it, I think. It was really cute to think now, you know, like to go back. But I lost, let's see, 9 pounds or 9.5 pounds in 8 days. And I went on to lose 15.5 pounds in my first 30 days. And it took me 4 months to lose 27 pounds. And I did that while I was breastfeeding, just kind of like the tail end of it. So she had already started to eat solids, and I knew, like, okay, we're done with this, and I want to get this baby weight off. And because I had worked so hard after the second one, and but I was running 6 miles a day plus just to like get back in shape after Harrison. So once I got pregnant with Haviland, of course, she's a joy, but it was like, it's all over again. So, okay, so this is what's so cool. So you guys met Steph because Leslie had her on a Zoom like a little while ago. And Stephanie Wood, who's also an executive. And this is the cool backstory because I don't know if they know this either. I literally grew up with Stephanie. She and I grew up in the same hometown, Fullerton, California, in Orange County. And we had very parallel upbringings. You know, both of our dads were doctors. We both had brothers. It was like this little parallel life, you know. So when we met in Sunday school, and then we became fast friends in junior high, and she was like my bestie in junior high. I mean, it's this really, like, I'm actually getting chills now. Okay, so like it was meant to be. Okay, so the reason that I got started with Xyngular was because I got reconnected with Stephanie, just Facebook. You know, I was nursing all the time, so you're sitting there and it was just like all you have to do is scroll on, you know, like what can you do? I'm just like sitting there with a baby on my boob forever. Like, whatever. Sorry, for those that have nursed, you understand, but you know what I mean? No matter what. I mean, you're just feeding a baby, it takes forever, you know, they always eat, whatever. So I'm just scrolling, and I kept coming across Stephanie, and it like really made me happy because I missed her. I'm like, oh man, I have the best memories with Stephanie. Like, you know, I wonder how she's doing, blah, blah. And I started seeing, okay, so I saw her pictures at Sundance the first time she went to Sundance, and she went to Sundance for Gold Manager. And so I'm like, come again? Like, what's this? It like definitely was just curious. And you guys got to understand, like 9 years ago on Facebook, it was a very different animal back then, you know? So, and then she would like post some transformations sometimes, and I'm like, And what got me was Carrie Robina's testimony, who signed up Jennifer McKinney. You guys may have heard of her. We're going way back. It's like, yeah. So Adam and Eve, no, I'm just kidding. So, Carrie had migraines, and I did too. And that's what, because, you know, that's what triggered me, what really was like, oh, okay, I need to pay attention to this, because you guys, part of my story with Stephanie Wood is we literally were diet buddies. We did every diet. We would scour over 17 and Teen magazine, and we would literally do, I mean, like, it was so sad. Really, it was like this little partnership of anorexia, bulimia diet. Like, it's sad to think about when you really think about it, but that was part of our big bond. So I've done everything. So I was like, yeah, anything can help you lose weight. I don't care about that as much as, wait, something will take away my migraines? And it was the same for Steph, because she suffered the same way. So that's what really piqued my interest. And I did and was and am migraine free because of Xyngular products. Like, literally have not had a full-blown migraine since I started my first product. So that definitely blows me away. Like, I mean, I had the flu once, you know, that's like not a migraine. So, okay. So then it just kind of blew up, okay? Because then it's like, oh my God, you know, it's like this excitement, okay? And here you have this law of attraction going on where I was excited with Stephanie, like, oh, good memories, all that. And it goes back into that. And then I was getting amazing results. And I didn't mean for this to be a business at all.
I think we're all there, right?
Right. And it's like, why would I do this? And I used to say on calls, like, I really used to think that anything MLM, like I grew up being told they were dumb. Like, you really have to be a stupid person to fall for something like that. Like, that's literally how I was raised. Like, very white collar. And so was Stephanie and her family. It just cracks me up. They're all still the same. They all like think, you know, Western medicine is the only way to go. Yet all of her family members and all of mine use Xyngular products and have for 8 and 9 years and swear by them and never give them up. And, you know, here we are. And they know how much we've earned. It's just once a stigma gets in your head, I guess you don't let it go, which is just so silly. So, I mean, they're like proud of us and everything, but that's the backstory on that. So I was kind of like, why would I get in an MLM? But honestly, people watched me shrink. They were like, what are you doing? It kind of started, let's see, with like my first client, because I used to go walking in my neighborhood with the stroller every night to kind of like calm Haviland down. And then like, it was like all these other mommies would go with their strollers too. And so these other mommies were like, wait, how are you losing weight?
Right.
Well, yeah. So, let's see. So from there, then we were like, I guess you would say, and just stop me whenever you have a question or anything. Cause like, I want to share only because I want people to know the story and just like have more, you know, fill in, but also I don't want to ramble. So, business wise, back then, Messenger was just kind of coming into existence, and I was just messaging people like, hey, this is what's going on for me. I still haven't had a migraine. I don't know what's going on. I kind of feel like I'm shrinking, and like, if you want to check it out, I'm happy to whatever. That was it. But I did a lot of those. Like that whole thing, you know, today in our Zoom when I was like, I remember when I used to be competitive. I used to, I still work very hard, but anyway. So I would just do a lot of those messages. And what was the turning point for me, forgive me if you've heard this before, but it was, let's see, probably 2 weeks into this. It was before Vegas. And maybe it was what caused me to go to Vegas for sure. I'm not sure, but I was in interior design. I have a master's in fine arts, and it was 2 a.m. Mind you, I have 3 kids running around with all of them. 2 a.m. I don't know how I'm up at 2, because those who know me know I'm like asleep by 8. Like, it's really pathetic. But it was 2 a.m. and I'm making these pillows for a client, okay? And I'm sewing these pillows, and I'm like, okay, wait a second. Let me get this straight. I'm going to make $40 on this pillow, and, you know, whatever. I was counting up in my head, like, this is how much I'll make on this pillow. But if I just signed up 1 Ignite kit, I'd more. Okay, yeah, I quit. So I literally the next day, like, I finished those pillows at 2 a.m, but then I was like, yeah, and we're good. We're done. And that's it. And because I easily, that first month, I made a little over $1,000. Yeah, first month in business. Yeah. So I mean, it's like so possible, so doable. But I didn't know anything. All I knew was like, ooh, this is kind of fun. And man, I feel so good on this Zing. I'm just going to take this forever. Yeah. And then it built. So, that's when, 2-3 months into it, we start going, okay, what about doing a city meeting in San Diego? And so we started building that. And yeah, and people came on board, a lot of people that are in between me and Leslie, or Leslie and I, yeah, started coming on board pretty quickly there too. And yeah, it just grew that way. What am I missing? Ask me a question. Ask me what you want to chat about.
Okay, so experience. Obviously, you have experience, and I know that a lot of us, and I don't know if you experience this, but because I was kind of by myself for a year and stumbled and had no one helping me, I thought I can do this by myself. I don't really want to do three-way calls. You know what? I'm not that girl. I'm not that girl. I don't really want to get on the phone, and my friends probably don't want to either. And I would sign them up, and they would stay for about 30 days. They'd fall off, and I can sign them up all day. I mean, I can literally sign them up all day. It was keeping them, or it was getting them to decide that they wanted to be, at that time, a distributor is what we called it, and do the business. Now we're calling it for a member, right? Which is, I think, easier. Let's get your products paid for. In your experience, is your experience the same as mine as far as, oh, I should have definitely got them on phone calls. We wouldn't have been returning kits. We would have made sure that they weren't taken to Zing, that they were constipated.
All those little details that Xander still does not do for us. Yeah. And we had no Xander. Let me just be very clear with that one. Oh boy. I mean, it was all day, every day. Take this, do this. Yeah. That's an excellent question, and one that most people struggle with, I would say. I mean, I would say it's a learning curve, right? I got lucky, and I don't really know how, because I'm pretty strong-willed. But what worked for me is that I knew nothing about this business. I knew tons. I mean, nobody tops me in design or fine art. I will run circles around you in that area, but this business here, I have no idea what I'm doing. So what really worked, and Stephanie will say this too, because it's actually part of her story. She could not get a distributor for 15 months. She had not one person that would like do the business or was even interested in anything. And one day Troy talks to her and goes, well, sister, like, you have to actually ask them if they want to. And yeah, I think it hit her like, oh, I don't ask anyone. And he goes, make a commitment now that the next person you talk to, you are going to invite them to do the business too. And she was reluctantly like, okay, whatever. So she got Troy on the call with me. I spoke with Freddie, I talked with Troy, I talked with Tammy. This was like right before I signed up, okay? Or like the day after. It was like, oh, right. The days are fuzzy at this point. But, and I was the first person to be a distributor under her, but I was also the first person she ever asked. She literally just hadn't asked anyone. Yeah, because she didn't think it would, she didn't believe in it, right? Like you have those like self-doubts, or you're not like super confident in that area, so you're like hesitant or shy about it. But she had the same, MLM upbringing I did. So that's why. you know, she had all those preconceived things around that notion. So what I learned from her and why it worked in my benefit was because I only knew someone that did three-way calls. So right from the beginning, and this is back when calls, you know, we actually still used our phones. This was back then, you know? So like, I shouldn't say never. I'm sure there was a time or two when I was on the phone without somebody else, but I was pretty, and she'll tell you this too, I was pretty good about, I didn't want to do all the talking myself. So I would just say over and over again, you know, I don't know exactly how this works, even though I did. I don't know exactly how this works, but I would love for you to hear Stephanie's story because I think she can relate to you even more than my story would. And I just something honest that could segue to Stephanie, you know, chatting with them. And I was pretty good about just always, and we kind of stumbled figuring out what was the right amount of calls per client, right? Because you don't, it's like if you did a call every day, you'd be so like, I can't do this, you know, because it would take you all day. And there was a time when Stephanie and I both were doing at least a dozen calls a day, if not more. And we were trying to get them short or shorter, but it was like, whoa, that's when people still use their phones. And I don't know if it's better now if they don't or, you know, whatever, but still, here's what I can attest to. Okay, so to answer your question, I had a lot of success right from the get-go, but I totally did what I was told. Totally. Like I didn't have returns. I didn't, not for a long time. I had like a couple things come up, you know, like whatever, someone ended up not liking Xing or, you know, like something random. But I did the coaching calls for the most part. We just jumped into it. We jumped into the business. So we had that like, you know, both feet in sort of thing. And we were figuring out back then in 2012, like, when should we do calls? Like, okay, this is so funny. Little side note, Freddie was doing a call with us, like a training call. And we were like, so Freddie, what do you do? Like, how do you take care of people on their 8 day? And he's like, well, I write it on a 3x5 and then I like put it in the back. And I was laughing so hard, like, I will never do that. I will never remember to do that. I will never do that. And I was thinking to myself too, like, I just don't believe that you do it either. It writes on a 3x5 card and it's like some Rolodex of like, I'm like, are we in the 80s? Like what, there's no Rolodex anymore. Right. So, I mean, it's cute. It's just like a, just.
I see Freddie doing that though, since he's not very like,
you know.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, and authoritatively too, you know, like this is what I do. Like, okay. And now we have Teamsy, so we don't even need to, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So Stephanie, Tammy, Freddie, Troy, they all shared in the load of helping with my clients, hands down. I don't know how people do it on their own. There are so many details to understand about the human body and how these products could affect their body. I mean, I realize that's not our dilemma, right? We're just helping, like, I don't think we need to get that deep into health. At the same time, this is somebody's body. Like, I don't want anything, detrimental for someone either. So it's like, oh, okay, you're on blood pressure meds. It's just things that you'll never know unless you're doing coaching calls or something and you hear somebody else, because you learn stuff every time. And yeah, so if that's what you're kind of meaning.
Yes, and
Like,
I want to emphasize that, because I can tell you from from the time I hit like gold manager, and then platinum manager, to director, and then
I remember that.
that's
Yeah.
when Kathleen stepped in, and we would get on coaching calls, or we'd get on prospect calls, and the volumes of information that she had, that I learned from, that I can't even.
That I learned from other people.
I mean, I don't know. And that's the thing, is that, and I think that my biggest thing was afraid of talking to an executive. I am just a little gold manager. She's not going to
Oh
want
my
to
God.
for me. She is not.
I am nothing.
Right?
I am so nothing.
But you know what? But that's kind of what we think. We look at, even, you start looking at ambassadors. You look at Ursula, and you look at Robin, and you look at Jennifer McKinney,
Yeah.
and you think,
And they work. They
us.
work hard. Yeah, they work hard, and they've definitely like built their businesses, and definitely the respect. And I can understand what you're talking about. I was there too. It's being in high school. You're just a freshman looking up at the seniors. And as soon as you're a senior, you're like, what was I worried about? Because I didn't do anything.
Well, and that's kind of what I'm trying to get at, is this whole team needs to know we can reach out to anyone. If we need someone that is a specific, like we need someone that's a cutting horse gal, well, Robin Packard. We need someone that didn't need to lose weight into the business. Well, we got Ursula Myers, and we got Nicole, Crystal Nichols.
Right.
You start going into that, and it's like, we cannot be afraid to reach out to all the leaders. And I think that that's kind of been right.
Because, I mean, one person can't possibly do it all. And that's right. We did have this conversation, Leslie, a couple of them. I do remember this now. And okay, so that's just, everybody has a different personality. That's kind of where it stems from. I had no issue, but that's just who I am. Like at any of the events, I would just, meet everyone. No, but you got to understand, at the time, I was a pastor's wife for 20 years. If somebody knows how to talk to people, it was me. I mean, like, for that long in your life, like, that is, you know what I mean? So it was like, oh, I need this done or whatever. And I would say, like, whether it, Lori Ulrich, like whoever, I need someone who runs a magazine, or who could talk to this editor that I know. Okay, that would be Lori. And then I would say to Lori, and let me know how I can help you. I would always try to return the favor, and golden rule. Just try, be. So I didn't have that issue as far as like not knowing other teams, but that's only because that was kind of my personality. But I have plenty of other like huge challenges. and they usually revolve around the computer. So like everyone has their thing. But yeah, I mean, as far as for anyone watching this or like a part of this, like, I mean, be an octopus, like reach out to everyone you can even, because that was our conversation, right, Leslie? You were like, can you introduce me to some people? I'm like, I'm happy to, but you've literally already met this person. I know you have. Oh, but not really. Like, you've met him as much as I've met him. Like, it's just that, you were feeling a little bit freshman, like, oh, well, yeah, but I don't want to like no one, we all put our pants on one leg at a time.
Well, listen, it is going to end. And so I just want to thank you very much, Kat, for joining us, and we'll have to do this again. So thank you again, Kathleen, and I'm excited to
Such an honor.
replay this for my team. Thank you. All right, everyone.
Thank you so much,
All right.
Leslie.
Bye.